One of these two things is going to end up as a chalkboard, hopefully. I have this large mirror that has been collecting dust in my garage for about a year or two. So I got this idea that maybe I could paint it with chalkboard paint and turn it into our chalkboard. But it turns out it's actually significantly heavier than I thought it was. So I think I'm gonna try to pull out the glass part and maybe replace it with some thinner plywood and see if that ends up being lighter. My backup option here is that I have this piece of plywood that I can, I was thinking of like rounding the edges and putting some edging on there to make a chalkboard. So one of these two things is going to end up as a chalkboard, hopefully. It has these staples on the back that I need to try to get out. I have my trusty pliers and we're gonna see how that works. All right, I couldn't get my pliers in, so I'm just basically ripping this apart. But I did get down to the mirror and I checked. It is not attached, so it's not glued in, so that's good. I'll be able to get the glass out in one piece so that I can hopefully trace the shape of the glass. And then hopefully give the mirror part to somebody who might use it for a project of their own. Okay, so the backing is completely off and I measured it. I need a piece of plywood about 48 by 37 to be able to fit all the like little scalloped edge details and everything. So I'm just gonna go hop down to Home Depot. ADHD side quest. Okay, so it fits perfect. So now I'm gonna pop it back out and prime it. This is the primer I'm going to be using. I love this primer. I use it for all of my like furniture refinishing and it is amazing. Cool. I gave this just a real quick light sand to knock down the fibers that stood up from the moisture. And so it's all nice and smooth now, and I'm gonna start painting. Okay, so this is the chalkboard paint that I picked up. It's by Rustoleum. I have watched a few videos on painting with this stuff, and I think the conclusion that I've come to is the more layers, the better. So I won't panic after the first 15 layers. All right, this is the first coat, still wet. It's looking very splotchy. I think I'll give a light sand in between every layer as well. It says to wait 4 hours before you recoat it. So, So I guess this is just a come back and see later type of situation. For the second coat, I used a paintbrush instead of a roller, and I think I'm going to continue with the paintbrush instead. So I'm going to alternate layers going horizontally and vertically to try to minimize the brush strokes and also sand in between layers. Okay, so I did about 5 layers total, and it's looking pretty good. So I think I'm ready to put it back in the frame. Oh, just kidding. First I have to take out all these staples that I forgot about. Another ADHD side quest. Okay, I probably should have taped off the edges because the little drips have now made it where this doesn't fit in the frame perfectly anymore. So now I have to come through and I'm gonna like sand slash carve off all of these little drips. Okay, fun times. Okay, that only took a couple minutes. Now, my one regret is that I ripped off the backing because I think I could actually use that. So I'm going to try to replace the backing onto here. Okay, I taped it back together on both sides. This is fine-ish, I think. It's pretty secure. So now I'm going to figure out a way to reattach it. It actually was super hard and annoying to try to get these staples out, and I'm not gonna bother trying to do that. So I'm gonna try to fit the board, the backer board, back onto them, and then maybe use possibly my staple gun and do it on an angle, because I don't think my staples that I have are technically long enough to go through. I don't know, maybe they are. We'll see. Yeah, that works. And I think that'll be easier to pull out, because I figure when I inevitably need to repaint this thing, I don't want to have to dig into the board again. So having it kind of like half out, half in, I think is better. Okay, here is what it's looking like. I'm pretty happy with the way it looks, and now I'm going to cover it in chalk and get it primed, and hopefully this works out, because this is a lot of work. Okay, here it is. You can still see a lot of the texture of the brushes and everything, but I think that's helping the chalk actually stick on better, so I'm okay with that for now. And we're gonna see how it wipes off and go from there. There it is, all wiped down. I had just a cotton cloth to start with, but these little microfiber face cloths actually worked a lot better, so I think I might just use those. So now I need to get it on the wall. And I'm gonna do just a quick drawing on there. Last year, my daughter was asking me about thunderstorms and wanted to do a unit study, so I came up with all of this, and this is something that we did. But I think I'll pick one of my illustrations. I think maybe this one might go nicely. Maybe the thundercloud. We'll see. And I do not have any like fancy chalk pastels yet. I just have these that I've used before. I actually used to have a set of Faber-Castell, but I hated using them on paper, so I'm really hoping that I don't have that same reaction when I'm using them on a chalkboard. There's just something about handling them that really bothered me. But we'll see how these ones work, and I'm sure I'll buy some better ones later. Okay, so I think this turned out okay for my first ever chalkboard drawing. I threw some apples on there because my daughter recently did a project about apples. Yeah, so I'm gonna try some different chalk pastels and see how it goes. But overall, I would say that this is a success so far. So if you would like to follow along for more Waldorf-inspired homeschool projects and our journey on this first homeschool year, please give me a follow and like this video if you found it interesting. Have a great day.